Hey folks, Scott Walters with the Bulletproof Garage. What I've got here in my right hand is a spindle from a 1990 Ford F350 Dana 60. Now before we go further, spindles didn't change much over the years on the different models of trucks and the different makes as well. So if you've got an older or newer truck, a Dodge, a GMC, a Chevrolet, should be the same process, all right? Now, the real issue with this spindle is the bearing. The bearing is difficult to remove and it's tricky to reinstall correctly. But I'm going to show you some tips and some tricks on how to do it right. Okay? So let's zoom in and I'll give you a closer look and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, the first thing I want you to notice is the depth of the bearing, all right? So it's not flush here, and it's also not pounded all the way in. It could go in maybe another 1/4 of an inch in there, all right? But you don't want to do that because that's not the correct depth, all right? Why is it at that depth? Because there is a seal that rides here, all right, that sits right in there. Now the seal may have come off with your spindle, or it may be sitting on your stub shaft as well, all right? Whatever the case, let's take a measurement on this guy, all right? And I'm coming up with about 0.185 inches, all right? So 0.185 inches, and let's also check and see what kind of a depth we get right here. And I've got 0.219 inches, right? So just a little shy of 1/4 of an inch. When you drive this bearing in, that's what I would shoot for. So about somewhere about I'm getting 0.216 on this one, all right? If you can see that. So somewhere around 0.215 to 0.220, all right? It doesn't have to be exact, but you have got to leave enough room for this seal to fit all the way in, okay? So now that we have that measurement, let's see if we can remove this guy. Okay folks, so the problem with getting at this bearing from the top, all right, is that you're not going to really catch on the lip of the bearing. You're barely going to catch on it actually if you use something like a screwdriver, all right? Or, you know, if you put a socket down there on an extension to beat it out with. You know, same with a punch. You know, you're barely going to catch the top of the bearing, all right, the lip up there with a punch, all right? So, and if you've got one of these bronze punches, it's going to be basically the same thing, unless unless it's really mushroomed, and actually mine was mushroomed recently, but I went ahead and cleaned it up, so I'm not going to be able to use that. So now the first one I removed, basically what I did is I took a chisel and I started hacking away at this bottom lip here until I could get out the center portion. I just dug the center portion out with a screwdriver, right? The little needle rollers or needle bearings went everywhere. And then I was able to come at it from the top and better catch the bottom lip right here. And it took a while, all right? Another option is if you could take a long screwdriver like this guy here and heat it up and bend it to where you could get a better angle at it. But of course, you know, then you've got a screwdriver that's really useful for only one purpose. Now, what I want to try this time is this little baby pry bar, because I think I can get in here and get the necessary angle to knock it out, all right? So, let's go ahead and give that a shot and see if it works. All right, that felt good. Oh yeah, that moved it. All right, a few more whacks and it's gonna be out. All right, well, it's about to come out, as you can see. All right, so there it is. And this bearing actually wasn't in terrible shape, but it probably would have been fine if I had left it in there, but I've got some new ones, so it's in the might as well category. Might as well replace them while you can. And they're not terribly expensive anyway. All right, let's go get the new bearings and get them in. All right, time to get the bearing tapped in. Now this is a new bearing, and it is cold, all right? It has been sitting in the freezer, I don't know, for about a week or so. You don't need to leave it in that long, several hours should do it, but this is, I just stuck it in there. I wasn't sure when I was gonna get to it. Okay, now, so just set it in there, and first I'm gonna use a fairly large socket here. This is a 36 millimeter impact, and then I'm gonna have to change to something a little smaller once we get it flush. And I've switched to a rawhide head hammer here to be a little bit more gentle. All right, now that it's flush, let's go with this is a 1 5/16 inches, all right? Now, we're gonna have to get it close and then start checking to make sure we get our depth correct. No, that's not it yet. Okay, let's see where we are here. All right, 0.190. So we're shooting for about 0.220. So another whack or two. Okay, so I've got 0.224, and that is going to be mighty fine. And just to double check, yep, the seal fits down in there, and it's not protruding at all. Okay, good to go. All right, folks, that is it for this video. I hope you found it helpful and informative. And if you did, if you could do me a favor, please hit the like button and the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Also, be sure and check out the other videos on this channel, all right? The Bulletproof Garage, including Project Brutus, our 1987 Ford F-350 crew cab, long bed, diesel dually, 5-speed 4x4 conversion project truck, all right? And we'll see you next time on the Bulletproof Garage.